What is going on? Internet, YouTube, X, even Kick. Got a multi-stream nowadays because you never know what's going to happen. Better safe than sorry, as some advice might say. So, here we are. 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Some say that Central Standard Time is the time zone of the Lord, which I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that. Why am my image all funky looking? Let's give myself some more light. That might be a little bit better. Jax, what's going on, friend? How are you on this Friday afternoon here with myself? Yeah, it's gonna be a interesting topic for today. I have my coffee in hand, cold brew, because just need a little bit more caffeine today, a little bit stronger than the usual regular coffee, but had a good stream last night though. Played some Helldivers 2, some friends. Oh, it was a good time. Just a fun multiplayer game just to kick back and not take seriously. I had a good night on Cinebeer's stream. Talked about AI. Talked about reaction to a video that our friend Leon, aka Words of Paradise, made on indie games and mixtape and all that sort of drama. Very well done video for Leon. Check it out on his channel on Words of Paradise. I can tell you put a lot of work into it. And yo, what's up, Ronan? I made it. I told you next week. I told you today would be the day we get back on track. But yeah, I have not had a lot of sleep today, so it'll be a good episode though. I think we're gonna have some fun here talking about a few different topics, just things that I think are important, not just our everyday life, but I think just how we're surrounded by the world and the kind of BS that it just exudes for some reason, shape or form. But what's up, Darstead? How you doing? I am a member. I know my rights. You are. Glad you're part of the club. Modmint ZT6RL. Just saw your channel on my recommended. Decided to subscribe right away for some reason. Was it due to the thumbnail? Just asking for the algorithmic purposes. But no, I think if you're new here and you actually got recommended from YouTube, that is amazing. I guess YouTube's doing something right. But talk a lot about different things here. I play games. I'm very much a nerd. But, I'm also into health and fitness. So we talk about various topics here, movies, TV shows. And, we're going to talk about Gal Gadot and her recent comments about sexism. And then we're going to talk about one of the most absolute chads ever in the history of mankind, J.R.R. Tolkien. And a question that I wanted to talk about last week, but did not get around to it. I was just way too busy with work. So, I'm all right at Helldivers, not too shabby. Especially when we're like playing the hardest difficulty with three players instead of 4. So, it's a good time. It's always fun. But and honestly, there's been some interesting movies that have come out too. Which I need to check out. Our friend of the channel, fellow panelist, aka Blue Collar Loser, he was saying yesterday when we were chatting that he was going to see this movie called Obsession. I was like, what is that? Never heard of that before. But apparently it's a I'm trying to my light a little bit there. There we go. But apparently it's a interesting movie. And I think I saw someone else, the uninspired reviewer who will jump on Film Comics Explains channel from time to time. I think he said it was actually a good movie as well. Horror movie, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, then please correct me. But should be an interesting year for maybe horror movies. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so they came out 2025, but no, early release was domestic May 15th, 2026. So I guess it came or comes out today. After breaking the mystery. Oh, let me actually just share my screen real quick. I can kind of go there, but or a window. Subsession after breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart. A hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. Interesting. 1 hour, 40-minute runtime, so maybe hour 40 if you factor credits and whatnot. Comedy, horror, thriller. See, that's interesting. I don't know who's in the movie either. What the heck is this? Start a free trial on IMDb. Oh, IMDb Pro. I don't want to watch IMDb Pro. What the heck? Imagine paying for IMDb Pro. Sorry if you do, but yeah. What's up, Maverick Defender? How you doing? Yeah, Gal Gadot has a habit of saying the same thing repeatedly because she has nothing original to say because she's not very smart, nor is she a good actor. Yes, I'm aware she is very physically attractive, but sometimes looks aren't everything. If you're stupid and you look hot, well, then you're just eye candy, I guess. But so let's see here. Director, writer, Curry Barker, stars Michael Johnston, Indy Navarrete, I'm not sure, Cooper Tomlinson. So I have not watched this trailer, but it seems interesting. Andy Richter's in this? Wow. Hey, why does Haley Fitzgerald sound familiar to me? Yeah, what's up, Eraserhead? How you doing, brother? Okay, so I have not actually watched the trailer, but I would be inclined to. Visual trailer, visual teaser trailer. Let's watch this one together, shall we?
Now at McDonald's, a sausage McMuffin is $1.50. Normally,
Stupid ads. So the Blumhouse. Okay. Not to say that means anything or anything bad, but Gal Gadot in her Imagine John Lennon song, "The Rub in the Face" is so noise in the pandemic. Oh yeah. Never forget that. And also, she can't sing, so it just kind of makes it a double down on the trashness, right? But so let's check this Obsession trailer out again. Comedy, horror, thriller, or horror, comedy, thriller, whatever. Yeah, like so interesting combo. So we'll check this out. I'll be curious to see how this will do in the box office. Conversely, there's another movie that just came out for another horror thriller that I think we looked at 2 weeks ago on here on Friday, called Hokum. That is still in theaters. I've heard pretty decent things about it so far. Good things from like reliable people that I know, we know, that's kind of okay. They say it's good. It's good. Let's check it out. Let's hear more about it. Blah blah blah. But she's hotter when she doesn't speak. Exactly. Exactly. Brett Ratner made Melanie Trump's movie, and she's better looking than Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is too skinny and flat. Um, yeah, like the Gal Gadot is tall, which gives her a bit of an advantage when, or if I'll say if she were to actually maybe, um, like she's naturally skinny or thin, but one thing she probably could have done is work out, or if she worked out more consistently, which I think when she was filming the first Wonder Woman, she was also pregnant at some point too. Like I mean, I think the biggest concern that most people had was, I don't think she was, presenting much up front, and then nothing much in the rear end. Um, she modeled, and I know she, again, like for taller people to gain more muscle, it is more difficult, right? Because it's kind of, you know, proportionate, but um, I don't think her body ever looked bad, but I think again because she's taller, she is at a disadvantage to gain more junk in the trunk, if you will. Like she would have had to have eaten a lot more, worked out a lot more, and it's also kind of like specific to targeting that muscle, right? Like, uh, for anyone, whether it's guys or gals, like, you know, in order to build certain muscles, like you have to work them out repeatedly. You have to work them out multiple times a week. You have to, focus them, and as Arnold would say, is you have to sculpt the muscle, right? So, like for women, and when I've helped some female friends out with creating a workout plan or workout regimen, and I'll ask them like, okay, so like, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve by working out here? And obviously including like a meal plan. I don't want to say so much dieting, but when you look at the idea of people have different bodies, people have different goals, and in the interesting thing too, right? Henry Cavill, man's also a Chad. And look at the emphasis that he put into his work, that he usually puts into his work, even like he's doing now for Highlander, or did for The Witcher, for Geralt, right? He worked out, he put in that sweat equity, the dedication, he ate right, because he loves working out just as much as I do. And he's a nerd just as much as I am. But, um, you know, he definitely, um, he definitely puts in the work, and you can see that he's targeting to be massive or to have bigger arms or bigger chest, right? Like that's the idea. So like Gal Gadot could have basically done the same thing and just done a bunch of squats and really expanded her thighs and her glutes. And then people would have been like, oh, she actually has a booty. So, but yeah, we'll get more into more Gal in a little bit. I want to watch this trailer for Obsession. Make sure, actually, hold on. Let me take this down for a second. Make sure I'm actually sharing the audio tab. Okay, there we go.
Have you ever actually like flirted with Nikki?
I'm gonna go get some shots.
I'll come with you if she means this much to you.
Wait, why is this not? Can I? It's not going to disappear from my freaking screen.
And I know she does.
There it is.
To say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Nikki, wait. I was gonna ask you,
What?
So yeah, I guess it kind of seems a little innocent. Almost seems like if you didn't know anything about this, and you're just watching it like in a movie theater when it just kind of comes on, you think, oh, it's going to be some like romance, maybe a rom-com type of teenager type of, I don't know, movie. The first 20 seconds.
I lost my train of thought.
Hi.
Good night. What else?
Why?
One wish willow.
One wish willow. You only get one wish. Interesting. Yo, what's up, Jamma Llama? Oh, good to see you, my friend.
You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
Oh.
I love you so much. I love.
She had that look, which I think, again, I don't know who this actress is, but she had that look that, like, it might be a crazy girlfriend, right? Hence the obsession, the over infatuation with someone.
Only the branch of a willow tree could conjure.
It's weird how you two are dating all of a sudden.
Is it though? Is it magic? Is it fate? Is it destiny? Is it the universe pulling us together? Who knows?
Like super dating.
I think Nikki is going through something.
Like what? Is she okay?
No.
I wonder what that was. Why she was moving across like that? Like, was she just kind of like not walking, but she was just like shifting, kind of like floating along the side?
Jeez, what kind of spells you put on her?
I would have laughed. Why so serious, bro? Kind of lighten up. You guys were drinking. Supposed to be loose. Not all tight because some crazy chick's laughing weirdly. Okay, that ramped up quite a bit. I like that though. That was good.
Nikki?
Now, sometimes that's how just women sound when you're like in the bathroom and you're trying to get in there, you know? Could be that time of the month. I think this actress is doing a good job. And the like weird voiceover effect on it too is actually kind of it's definitely creepy.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Is that sweat on his face or did she throw something on it? Also, is she like, he ain't looking too good.
I was calling to see if there's a way I can cancel a wish.
I'm sorry, we don't really do that.
So she's just stuck like this forever?
No takesies backsies on the cray train. Yeah, what the fuck is happening? It's some like new movie that Blue Collar Loser Chris told me about yesterday. And then I saw Tur mention in a chat called Obsession. It's a comedy horror thriller. So, yeah, I agree. What is happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as you live.
As long as I live.
I mean, we don't really do that. As long as you live. I mean, that's some spooky stuff right there. So, you know, I like the trailer. That was good. That was good. Yo, what's up, Boosh? How you doing, man? Yo, what's up, Hook? How you doing, man? Note the top of Gal Gadot's head. She has what's it called? Microcephalia? Yeah. So maybe because the brain stopped growing and she has development failure. That's why she says stupid things like, well, if you don't like feminism, then you're sexist. Mm. And exactly, this is exactly what I have in my notes, Gemma, about the absolute binary thinking. You're either with us 100% about everything or you're Hitler. By those on the left is maddening. Yeah. So it's almost like dealing in absolutes, right? If you're not with me, then you're against me. But it's like there is a right way of asking certain questions, and I kind of, you know, jotted some things down as if saying, you know, I understand what she's trying to get at, but the way she's evoking such things is not the correct way. Certainly not the correct way to the public, and as she's a well-known sort of star, I guess you could say, this is not how you would definitely do it. Yo, what's up, Blue? Yeah, I was just talking about that. So, but life happens in love. You were shagging, weren't you? Good for you. Um, Dude, we just watched the trailer. A good trailer though. I want to see it. I don't know if I'll have time to go see it this weekend, but I definitely want to put it on the list. And yeah, definitely feels more comedy than horror, but it's interesting enough. Yeah, I wonder if it'll have like a lot of like more comedic moments, but like with a nice, like, I don't say thin layer of horror and thriller aspects, but you know, decent enough where you still get the creepiness or moments where you're like, oh, like, you know what it reminds me of? Weapons. Like, to me, Weapons wasn't terrifying. Yes, it was a thriller more than a horror film to me. It was more suspense thriller than anything. I mean, there were parts of Weapons where I actually laughed out loud in the theater. I've mentioned this before, but when Benedict Wong is possessed and he's running down the street, and then a car in the intersection just completely, you know, smashes him, I laughed at that part. I don't know why. It reminded me of like Jackass. Like, who would be stupid enough and like, oh, it's possessed, and I'm like, I know, but it's just dumb. Such mixed reviews on Weapons. Like, I never did a video on it, Jamma, and I wanted to, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I think I was going to try and talk about it with Nyat more, and we're kind of chatting a little bit about it in like a chat thread, but you know, I'm not like super thrilled by it, and I haven't watched Krieger's movie on Barbarian yet, and of course he's doing a freaking Resident Evil movie, which for some reason is called Resident Evil. I'm not hopeful about that. I've heard some people say Barbarian is better than Weapons. So I'm like, oh, well, okay, Barbarian is better than Weapons to some. Then I might like Barbarian more than Weapons as well. I don't think Weapons was bad. And yeah, like I enjoyed it for what it was too, Razor. Like, it was like I'd probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10, you know, like the highest I'll go is the 7. But again, I saying it's a 6 to me isn't a bad thing either, right? I mean, I paid for it, went to go see it in the movies. You know, there's definitely aspects that I think could have been done better and changed with the characters or script. But, you know, it wasn't bad. Like, I didn't feel like it was a waste of money per se, but I don't understand people glazing it and be like, it's a 9 out of 10 easy. And I'm like, is it easy though? Because there are flaws and there are parts of this movie that are just absolutely pointless. But, you know, yeah, people have different tastes. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. I've not seen Hokum yet. Eraser, have you seen Hokum? The trailer for Hokum was decent. It looked intriguing. Yeah, the 199 from Blue Collar Loser. Henry Cavill film getting no marketing. Why? Which one is that? Is that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal you're talking about? Or Highlander or Voltron? Voltron I haven't seen anything on yet. I imagine we will. I've seen the most I've seen on Highlander is stuff from posts on X, honestly. I saw a post today that someone was in the area of where they were filming, and someone brought some custodies to him from Warhammer, and it was like a box of the new custodies. And then he was like on the fence, kind of like excited, and then he gave the box to like probably his assistant, and the assistant was kind of like, and then Henry Cavill was like talking to who are these fans that were watching, and it looked like he was just going off on a rant, like deep into like, you know, probably some 40K lore or something like that. Who knows? But you know, yeah. So the other movie that, again, horror related that I've not seen yet, another thing that's on my list of movies to see, Hokum. Definitely, you know, an interesting trailer. Watched that two weeks ago. So I think it just came out last week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, release date. Sorry, 2 weeks ago. So not huge. So only 17 mil worldwide, which I don't even know what the budget was, but I will look it up right now. Again, directed and written by Damian McCarthy. Stars Adam Scott, Lawrence Ordish, Peter Coonan, David Wilmot. Let's see here. The budget was only $5 million, and it has 18 million in the box office. So, you know, Pedro Pascal is not the new James Bond. That would be one of the biggest suicides in the history of film. What's up, Molly? Did I miss the horror talk? No, not quite. I mean, we were just talking about Obsession. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but yeah, what's up, Waylon? On the road? Where are you going? Long ass road trip? Where to? Yeah, Hokum seems to be profiting so far, I guess. Domestically, it's at just under 14 mil. Just under 4 mil. Wikipedia is saying 18 mil. I know we're rounding up here, but, you know, again, if it only cost 5 mil to make, that's, you know, needs to triple its value, but but I've heard about it. Yeah. I'll probably see it maybe within the next week. Like, I'm not the biggest horror fan. I mean, I like to see good horror movies. It's just we haven't had one in a while. You know, suspense thrillers. Like I said, the last one that I saw or cared to see was Weapons. But, you know, I think between Hokum and Obsession, yeah, it could be pretty good, you know? Talking about something that is horrific Mortal Kombat 2. Now, I saw it in a matter of speaking. I might have watched it from not the movie theater, if you catch my drift. And I believe it cost $80 million to create Mortal Kombat 2. The budget was $80 million to create. And even though it's been out for, what, just a little over a week? 10 days almost? Not quite. Yeah. It came out last week, right? Yeah, May 8th. So it came out last week. Yeah, exactly. It's in the movie theater. Yep. Love that site. The high seas. Jack Sparrow be teaching me. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like the quality wasn't fantastic or anything, but it's kind of not the point. You still get the gist, which I expected more. I think the trailer was a lot better than the movie, and that's kind of saying something, right? Because you get an idea of what the movie might be based on the trailer, and then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, okay, well, and yeah, like Cole, we all wanted Cole to be removed from the movie because it shouldn't be about him. It should be about Liu Kang, Kung Lao, right? Sonya, Johnny Cage, Raiden. But, you know, here we are, underperforming. But I'm not really surprised, though, after seeing it and just realizing that it is not performing well. Now, I'll say I think it's better than the first movie, but the first movie had, again, arguably one of the best parts between the two in the opening. That goes back to the 1600s with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right? Like their lineage and how Scorpion essentially goes to hell after his entire like family was murdered by Sub-Zero, and obviously the idea of like that's your basis, and then Cole's your lineage, and it's like based off this one surviving baby. I mean, that's a stretch, but anyway. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is kind of low on the totem pole, and in terms of rankings or ratings go, it is quite interesting too, for the sake of the fans, other users, other viewers like us, give it an 89%. Rotten Tomatoes 89%. Critics actually give it a 65%. And I'm like, man, are the critics right here, y'all? Are the critics right here for once? 65%. Because I'd say it's like a 5 out of 10 at best. But audience score, 89%. And yeah, this is like pure fan service, which I didn't mind it, right? Like I definitely, same thing. I as a kid who grew up playing these games, now as an adult, I love every second of it. That's kind of how I felt. I remember playing Mortal Kombat 1 on the Sega Genesis. When we were go to a friend's house and be a sleepover with like, a bunch of friends from school, and we'd play this, right? This is just one of the things to do, is play Mortal Kombat. you know, and then talk smack against who is better. But and it's weird how in today's society, especially online, where we want fan service because most of the time when a movie or a studio puts out an IP that we know and adore or want to talk about more of, and like make into a movie, and like, yeah, we're gonna make this purely for the fans, and it's just a lot of fan service. It's like, oh, but the rest of it's not good. Like, yeah, you're adhering to us as fans because we like playing the game or we liked it from the book or whatever it happens to be. But the rest of it's terrible. The dialogue's not good. The graphics are maybe okay, but the story, the plot, the things that occur in their character arcs are terrible or just downright bad. Then people are against it. It's like, this is not the fan service we wanted. And so like it is interesting. It is interesting. Critics just hate fan service. That is true. They absolutely do. Not saying I've seen the movie, but normally I just don't care what the establishment critics have to say. Yeah, I mean, I never think that we should go into any movie listening or seeing something off of what critics have to say, right? Like that's, I think it's we should do the complete opposite. Now, again, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. We go over to IMDb, boom, 7 out of 10. With more people have rating over here. And again, majority of people are saying it's 7 out of 10. I'm more here. Like, again, yeah, fan service was fine, But I mean, it's I don't get how some people can just say this is a 10 out of 10. I don't know. Unpopular opinion, I prefer Sly Stallone's Judge Dredd to Carl Urban's Judge Dredd. Well, yeah, one is more serious and like it's supposed to adhere to the source material or comics, and then Sly's Judge Dredd is like more it's like a cartoon. I am the law. So that's all it is. It's all it is. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen what people are rating it over on Criticless. Let's check, shall we? Now, if you want to watch some good Mortal Kombat films, watch the animated movies that are on HBO. Those animated movies are far better. Like, that actually has some good stuff. Especially with they call it Mortal Kombat Legends. So then there's 4 out right now. Dude, Scorpion's Revenge, that one, oh, it's so good. I almost went back and watched those instead. But let's check out over on Criticless. Mortal Kombat 2. So let's see here. Audience, based on 96 votes, say 70% say it's rad. I wonder if we can know anyone that might have commented on here. Probably not, but okay, let's look at CK Andler. Huge disappointment for me. One of the movies I was looking forward to watching this year. Early trailers had me jacked for this. And I agree, the trailer was definitely better. Last movie was okay. Not great, but I enjoyed enough of it. I can get that. And every indication was this was improving on it. That's true. The trailer definitely invoked a better movie. Yes, there is little to no story. Yeah, it hurts. Yes, there was a bait and switch. Would have been okay if there was more compelling story, but there was not. Actress playing Jay was has worn out her welcome. She needs a career change. She isn't likable. Very true. The writing and acting were all bad, which, I mean, yeah, and I get it. It's supposed to be kind of like cringy and campy, although like Kano and Carl Urban carried that movie as best as they could, right? Their shoulders need to be iced. I will go back to watch the original 1995 movie. Might be cheesy, but it is entertaining and the music gets you pumped for the fights. That's true. So 30%. And yeah, you know, again, I get that. So we're not going to read too many of these, but and then we see Grand Duke here says Mortal Kombat 11. Wait, I mean 2. Lulz. It's great. Even better than the last one. Marv, we'll call it a bait and switch with Cage and Katana. He's not entirely wrong, but not entirely right either. Cage is in the movie. He's a big part of it. So is Katana. It's both our new characters. Jade is the shittier character as Tati Gabrielle is a woke versus swap and a crappy actress. She is. That was one of the things I was like, oh my God, she's in this. Like this movie, it might not be good, or like she would probably be the most unenjoyable part of the movie. And she was. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot of fun. I would have liked to know a little bit more about what this person thinks is fun from the movie. Is it the fan service? And then why give it an 80%? Like what makes it not perfect, but fun and to give it an 80%? I know people have different, like, you know, scorings and whatnot, but yeah, like there was a lot of fanfare in the movie. Yeah, the fatalities were cool. Yeah, the storyline was not good. The characters were not good. I would not go back to the movie theater to watch this. There are better ways. Yeah, what's up, Vex? I'm a toxic feminist, for real. You got me. You got me. So, yeah, if you watch, like, dude, Scorpion's Revenge, how has no one watched this? Scorpion's Revenge. Watch this one. I think this is the second one. I think Battle Realms. Oh, no, wait, no. What was the Snowblind first? Okay, so Scorpion's Revenge was the first one. Then Battle of the Realms, Snowblind, and then Cage Match. Okay. Oh, I haven't seen Cage Match then. I've seen Scorpion's Revenge, Battle of the Realms, and Snowblind. The OG one, though. Yeah, 80% for the OG one. Now, we snuck into this movie, my friends and I, back in the day. I was 10 years old, and we snuck into this rated R film, and it was amazing. Back in the day when you could just sneak into theaters as a kid. That was amazing. Good times. Good times. Yo, what's up, Nerd Slap? How you doing? Oh, you're talking about The Gray. A dude in a Guy Ritchie film, Henry and Jake, no reviews. Is it in theaters or is it oh, it's called In the Gray is what it's called. Yeah. Is it okay? So actually, it's going to theater. I thought it was like a YouTuber or not YouTube. Uh, it's out, not in theaters. Really? Yeah, I'm seeing. Okay, I see it in theaters around me. I've seen some marketing, but I mean, not as much as others, which is I don't know why. Zero marketing. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, what's up, Zelosi? Long time no see. I made it through the night and the morning though after Cindy's stream. That was a lot of fun. And I'm like, when I had to get up for work for a meeting, I was like, holy, I am going to be super tired today. So I'm like, I gotta make sure I have enough energy for my stream. And then I had a meeting that went a little bit late. So I'm like, I can't go live at noon. I have to go live at 1, which actually worked out to my benefit because I need to wake up. I need to drink more coffee, which I still have here and I still need to keep drinking. But $1.99 from Mr. Blue Collar Loser. Best horror this year, Undertone. Watch the trailer. Interesting. I don't think I've heard of that one either. Is this the year of good horror movies? Blue, I was working on a clip for you, but because you actually where's my clip? I was gonna play for you. Oh my god. Oh, okay, Blue. This is for your donos. Now you're a man! A man. Now you're a man, man, and it's something we can just do to Gal Gadot.
Man talk. Hey, they come back.
Get out of here, city woman. Should we watch the Undertone trailer, y'all? I'm okay with doing that. I was hoping to see this weekend, but neither of the theaters near me are playing it, so I'm going to check out Obsession instead. Vex, just watched the Obsession trailer. I like it. I'm actually intrigued. I want to see In the Gray. Only saw one trailer. Yeah, I think I've seen one trailer, like the initial trailer that came out. But, oh, actually, that reminds me. Yeah, we got the big fight on Saturday. Oh, Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey. Oh, damn. Gina might cameo in the Mandalorian, in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Nah. I've heard good things about Undertone. Okay. We're gonna watch the trailer and then we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna go out. I'm going on my first rant of the day on Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot. Undertone. Trailer. Let's see here. A24 movie. Okay. I see 2 trailers. One has 16 million views. The other has 9.7, but one is shorter than the other. Do we watch the one that has more views, or do we watch the one that's longer? We're going to be watching it tomorrow on Discord, Nick. Oh, the fight? Which Discord? ABFs or GCA? If I'm not out of town, I might be out of town this weekend, though. That's the only thing. If I'm in town, then I'll definitely... Did I learn how to speak like Kanye yet? Not yet. Not yet. I'll work on it. I'm working on it. GCA. Okay, cool. All right, let's watch. We'll watch the trailer that had more views, I guess. Seems like the better approach, I suppose. Okay. Undertone official trailer 2 HD. Right? What are we watching in? All right, it's fine. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Undertone Podcast, where we talk about all things creepy. I'm your in-house skeptic, Evie Babbage, and
all right, initial start. Yep, you got the little chord strikes. Kind of create the horror creepiness vibe, and I just think even based on where the camera angle is coming from, I feel like something's going to happen behind her. Podcast, yeah. How meta.
I'm joined by my believer co-host, Justin Manuel.
You're gonna love this. I got something juicy.
Ooh, do tell.
10 mysterious audio recordings from an anonymous email. Let's keep an open mind, Evie.
Let me guess, it's a demonic possession.
Okay, Evie.
Well, that might be a little on the nose, perhaps, but all right, Nerd Slap. Enjoy work, man. We'll talk later. Yes. I'll get you that picture too for the intro. Okay.
Easy. All right.
And then the cross above the doorway. How cliche. You guys ever play something or like in a game and like the audio is just that good and you think it's actually happening like in real life? Like I forget what game I was playing, but this was maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And I was at my desk and I could have sworn someone was like knocking and like at my on my window. I would hear like this tapping on the glass. It was like, actually, let me see if I can get my mic over so you can hear what it sounded like. It was like this. It's just my monitor case. But I was hearing this tapping noise and I was like take off my headphones. I'm like, I didn't hear it again. But then there was one time I was like late at night and I could have sworn someone was like knocking at my window. And at one point I kind of like freaked out. I was like, but it was something that was happening in the game. I didn't even realize. I was like freaking myself out for no reason. All right, let's continue.
We've heard weird stuff before, but this feels different.
You believe that?
I'd like to speak with Mary.
I think it's a pretty interesting concept, though. Like the idea that there's like the audio is possessed potentially. That's what they're going for. Also, this little like, eyes here. I don't know if his eyes are just lighting. It looks creepy though. I mean, yeah, this definitely looks creepy as hell, especially when you start doing these drawings on the wall. All right.
What if it's a warning?
There's only one way to find out.
So I guess the idea is she's listening to this audio, and then because she's listening to that audio, that possession or whatever's happening is now happening in her own home. Which is it a psychological aspect too? Because like I don't know. Maybe we'll get those answers, but
We should stop listening.
I mean, it's definitely creepy audio, that's for sure. I need someone to hold me to watch this movie. Vex, get Julie's over here. Quoth the Raven nevermore. Yeah, I'm interested to see what it means. I guess like because if you're listening to something, how does listening to something on a computer translate to things happening in your house? I guess is my point. Don't listen. I think there was a little that was kind of cool little blurb there. Did you catch that? Let's go back frame by frame. That was cool. I like that for a trailer aspect. It happened in a flash. That's cool.
What were you thinking? You shouldn't have listened to all of them. It's what she wants.
I mean, between this Obsession and Hokum, I mean, pretty good horror movies, I guess, already. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Blue, for bringing that to my attention. Question is how unique this film could be, considering older films have used this premise before, White Noise, Pulse, etc. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think it's been done a lot, but not original either, right, Ronan? And yeah, I guess that's what I'm intrigued about the concept. Like, is the fact that you're hearing. That's what I was wondering if it was like all in her mind, like because this audio has somehow maybe affected her psychologically, that she's now hearing and seeing things that aren't actually there, and thus she is almost kind of becoming mentally disturbed, somehow possessed. Is almost like the recordings themselves are bewitched, cursed, haunted, and so that because I don't know, again, like how you're listening to something and that actually affects the world around you, right? So that would be my only. Well, actually, how does that make sense? That let me hit the pause button here, but again, intriguing, and I think in some cases for horror you can get away with it. Perfect example. Who here has seen Long Legs? Vex. We never got a chance to talk about Long Legs, but Long Legs was a damn good movie. And it was the very, very end of the movie that I'm like, by your movie logic, that shouldn't have happened. And I don't want to spoil anything in case people haven't seen it, but I would highly recommend people watching Long Legs. Eight minutes behind. I got you on 1.5 speed. I'm driving, dude. I don't know, try to save. This is why we don't need lossless audio. Need to scrub the ghosts from the data. Yeah, exactly. Vinyl all the way, baby. This one looks neat. I definitely want to give it a watch. Yeah, I agree, Molly. I've got 3 horror films to watch this year. Someone save me. Hallucination is a wonderful thing. Right, Hook, exactly. I'm like, that's what it kind of feels like what's happening in there. There's some sort of hallucination. Long Legs was a trip. Felt like a panic attack. It did. You can make billions of people hallucinate because of audio they hear. That is very true. This is why I'm like, I think it's not actually happening. It's happening all in her mind. And something's going to happen. She's going to do something. I think that something is there and it's not. Who knows? I saw Long Legs, sufficiently creepy. It turned a hard left turn, but I went with it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Are you on X now, Maverick? Just kidding. I always confuse possum with long legs. Drinker just uploaded. Drinker fixes the Hobbit trilogy. Interesting. I like the films, but they're flawed. Smog was excellent. I'll have to watch that and then see what he says. Because, not to say that I don't think Drinker knows the Hobbit or Tolkien. But I'd be kind of curious to see what he says in terms of making the Hobbit into a movie, because and maybe he said, I don't know if you've seen this already yet, Blue, but The Hobbit should never have been a trilogy to begin with. The Hobbit should have only been a 2-part movie that didn't necessarily need to be long either. You know, and again, the problem with that too is depending on where you stop the first part of The Hobbit, it might not feel like an actual ending, but it's like saying, do people want to watch a 4-hour movie in the theaters? Because I think if you're going to make it one movie, it would absolutely have to be a 4-hour movie. Dare I say maybe a 4.5-hour movie, right? Like, for example, let's see here. Why is it? For example, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, was over 4 hours. It was like 4 hours and 23 minutes. Yeah. 241 to 263 minutes long. Depending on the specific release between DVD and Blu-ray. So, and granted, I've watched that movie a few times in theaters, so I don't have a problem with it per se. But if we're gonna watch and do a Hobbit movie correctly, like it definitely is going to be a 4-hour movie. Yeah, when I had a chance to watch it, Molly. I think you'll like it. Yeah, Smog was a little heavy in the CGI, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean that whole part of Smaug chasing Bilbo with the gold, I mean, it was just super heavy on CGI. I mean, honestly, everything was in Erebor. I've heard the stuff about Stairway to Heaven, Maverick, actually. Exactly. 2 parts may have been pushing it. Like, I think you'd have to do like a 4-hour movie, really. And yeah, 3 was New Line Cinema stretching it out and trying to just like bleed it dry for everything it possibly could. And yes, Azog never should have been the main focus either. Like the fact that they had Azog from start to finish between the entire trilogy, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. Um, and yeah, Guillermo del Toro wanted to focus on practical puppets, but New Line was giving him grief. Yeah, New Line was pushing, and they were the ones like, oh, maybe we should try to doing a movie in 48 frames per second, right? Which added a whole different viewing perspective to those movies. Which I saw. Oh god, which one did I see? I think I saw The Desolation of Smaug in that high frame rate movie format, and it was definitely like visually awkward. Side note, budget for Undertone was $400K. Wow. Smart move. Director used his own house to film it. Look at the box office, such a huge win. Really? Yeah, I mean, we were just saying how the fact that Hokum only cost $5 million to make and is at 18 mil. So that's good. Let's see here. Looking up Undertone. Wow, yeah. 500 million. Oh, sorry. 500K budget for Undertone. And so far it's grossed over 21.3 million worldwide, 1.3 international, but almost 20 million domestically. I mean, dude, that's a big win. That's great. There's so much filler in the Hobbit trilogy, and it's a kid's book, so let's create a relationship between a beardless dwarf and an elf, and gets to talk about his junk a few times for kids. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't mind Evangeline Lilly as an actress, but yeah. Just the idea of saying, oh, it's okay, we can have a relationship with one another. It's like they're trying to do the mortal and immortal take again. Like the fact that I can't even remember her name. Tariel, right? Because she'll live forever as long as she doesn't die in combat. And then Feely dies, right, in combat, but he wasn't going to live anyway. I mean, forever. So The Hobbit of Desolation of Smaug was produced by the wife of Stephen Colbert. Really? And now he gets to do his own movie. Wow, it's going to bomb. So, hey, good for you. Yeah, so this is where The Hobbit went wrong. And it doesn't make any sense to me, where you have this crew that states in an interview that they want to do what's right for the Lord of the Rings trilogy and not change anything. Peter Jackson says that, right, in a video interview or in front of a camera, at least. And there are things that aren't 100% matching in the trilogy. Some things are changed, and I think there are reasonable changes for the sake of it being a movie instead of the actual books. And I'm not going to lose my head over it. I think some of those are justifiable while keeping true to the overall story and the plot threads. But then you have The Hobbit that changes a hell of a whole lot. Right? Like, we're going to throw in Radagast a lot. And, just again, make Azog the whole point. I mean, and granted, there's enough, I think, from the first. The reason why I like the first Hobbit movie so much, better than the other two, I think, is because, number one, that's the one that Guillermo del Toro worked on, I think, the majority of the time before he left. And then I think in terms of how it matches alongside the book, like, I think the first movie adheres to the book a fair amount. So, yeah, mistakes were made. And then, yeah, caveats must be made, sure. But what they did to The Hobbit was silly. Yeah. Like, and it's just like, okay, yeah. In the first movie, you're making some good, good adaptations from the book. And then you start to kind of just deviate. It's like, you're like, no. Why are you going off course? No, stop. And then you're off a cliff and it bombs. So, yeah, what's up, Scooby? How you doing, darling? Hope you are doing well. Happy Friday. Dude, I was just about to say, the whole thing with Radagast being included for as much as he is now, oh God, what was the actor's name? Sylvester McCoy. I think he's a good actor, but the fact that he plays Radagast, and then is the fact that Radagast is in it so much, it's just like, yeah. He's referenced by Gandalf in a throwaway line, just like the blue wizards. But hey, let's talk about them a whole lot in Rings of Power and just completely go off on a wrong tangent for Rings of Power. But that whole thing is just wrong, period. So he's mainly in the Fellowship of the Ring. Yep. And it was just a way to throw in a character they cut in the OG to fill in time. Right. And that's what I'm like, why are you guys cutting out time or filling in time? Like, you could just be focusing on and expanding and drawing out time for 3 movies when you just need to be, here's like, The Hobbit is one book. And granted, I'm not saying it's overly sophisticated, but there's a lot of great themes and lessons inside the book itself. And then just make it one movie. You could probably get away with, he did Doctor Who. Yep. Sylvester McCoy. Yep. I mean, sorry, I was looking at something else. But yeah, you could definitely do a Hobbit movie in 3.5 hours, 4 hours, maybe tops, I think. If you do it appropriately. I'm sleepy, have a doctor's appointment, they need to check my job. Have something I went through. I'm sleepy too, Scooby. I was up very late on Cine's stream, much later than usual. But we've been playing this for a little bit. It was supposed to be last week, but we had to rearrange to this week, so I made it work. Beans, how you doing? Happy Friday. Didn't you have to work at like 5 a.m. this morning, Beans? Or sorry, 6 a.m.? Because I went to bed hella late. Gonna watch Rings of Power Season 3, Nick. Listen, if enough people I haven't watched season 2. I know what happens in season 2. If enough people want me to watch season 3, I will do so. And either I'll stream and talk about it on a Friday, or I'll make a video and I'll make Vex edit it. So she has to suffer along with me. And then I'll tear it apart, because there's not going to be one damn good thing in any episode in that season. Yeah, if you had time to fill, there were certainly better things to do. Yep, I 100% agree, dude. So I'm curious to see what Drinker did for his video, because I will definitely leave a comment, which may be long, depending on what he says and what I agree or disagree with, or maybe would just, I would say disagree with, maybe just suggest as an alternative. But, you know, I did trim. I went to the barber last Friday. Luckily next week I'm going to go back to 70 because I finished up a custom project about an hour ago. Nice. Well, third time's a stupid or something like that. Yeah, exactly. um, so I don't know if you guys saw this or not. 'Cause this is something that kind of threw me for a little loop. We're going to start segueing here because segues are fun. All female Expendables spinoff is in the works. Expenda Bells. I listen, I'm physically tired, but this just makes me mentally tired. The film is set in the late 1900s, sorry, 1990s, during the height of the Y2K era tension and geopolitical uncertainty. Like, what? Who thought this was a good idea? Why would you come up with this for a premise? It's too on the bells. No, I mean, like, what are we doing here? This is Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. Stunads. Dude, it's freaking real, man. And yeah, it is
Gay!
I don't get it. We can't come up with a new idea. We really can't. Hollywood is broken. They are broken. They're not even bankrupt anymore. They're just broken. They have their brain is broken. They have no good ideas anymore. It was unveiled at the new Cannes Film Festival. Whoop, shit. Globally commercial films. Of course, Hollywood Reporter. Get this shit out of here. You're gonna put. I just look at these names here. Right, we've all seen Expendables. Right, I'm trying to highlight this shit. What the hell is happening here? Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Steve Austin, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, Bruce Willis, Liam Hemsworth, but GCVD, Arnold, even Harrison Ford, Wesley Snipes, Gibson, even Powell, Antonio Banderas, Victor Ortiz, like, and we've had a ton, right? Chuck Norris, R.I.P. legend. But no. Let's go ahead and throw in the women, the whammon now, the bells. Who are they going to get? Who are they going to get? Charlize Theron, Daisy Ridley, Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, Penelope Cruz, Diane Kruger. Like, I'm telling you what, this shit is gonna bomb so freaking bad. This is gonna be absolutely terrible. And the funny thing is, when you look at these legends here, this is just, I mean, Ronda Rousey is in this. She's in the fucking Expendables, but she might not be in the Expendables, right? Although she would make sense for that movie, but because she's such a hard ass, she actually kind of fit into this movie. But I mean, you got some masculine and macho dudes in here. You know, they're going to talk me on the phone. They're going to want to speak to the manager a lot. And dude, exactly. So it's like girl boss is up the yin yang. Like, you think that this movie is going to do well in the box office? No, because, and then the funny thing is they're going to be like, oh, well, yeah, you know, people that don't like the Expendables are just sexist, misogynistic pigs who are probably white males and probably even straight. I feel victimized. Bridget Nelson, Reg Sonia. I never saw that one. Dude, Jax, that's actually right. It's legends say it's been a decade. Therefore, we must reemerge with a new film that is like Ghostbusters 2016. I would rather watch the Guru movie than this. I unveiled a turd this morning. Yeah. Xena actress. Listen, Lucy Lawless. I mean, she's older now. I don't think she'd fit, but Uma Thurman. I mean, listen, Uma Thurman in Kill Bill was great. I wouldn't even really call that a girl boss. Ruby Rose. I mean, she would probably want to be this because she hasn't done shit in a long time, so she's probably craving for something. Amber Heard. Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey again. Yeah, Rousey makes sense. I mean, like, you could have done something back in the day. Yeah, right. Like Diane Kruger, Mila Jovovich, Kate Beckinsale, Gina Carano, Gabrielle Union. Right. Like, you've got these stars that, you know, have a big movies, big IPs at that time. And it wasn't emphasized like they were girl bosses. Daisy Ridley has just been wronged with her acting choices. I have nothing against her, you know. Again, she didn't write the bad scripts. I'm not going to defend it, Nick, as a premise off the bat. Off the bat, you would want Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver because you're mimicking these actors, right? Exactly. You would want to see them because that's what they did with the Expendables. You know, the problem is that these guys who are and were older at this time, you know, in their 60s, you know, could pull this off, right? But I don't know if Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton could pull it off, maybe, but, and then yes, Hemsworth was the best part about Ghostbusters 2016. Katie Sackhoff, I mean, I could see that, but didn't she like take a break? Isn't she like on hiatus from acting or something like that? Because she had like a crash out. Daisy really has a new Bond girl. That would be funny. Read the Lego Batman super chat. Oh, wait, hold on. Where was it? Oh, for the 199 1 week, I'll be streaming the Lego Batman with my kid. Oh, co-op, right? Couch co-op? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll probably get it. This one's for you, Blue.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
I'll play this one for you too, Blue.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Goodwin hates that clip, which is why I love playing it. Yeah, I have seen her. I have seen her podcast on YouTube. She does a pretty good job at it. I think the best episode, one of my favorite episodes, was with her and Sam Witwer. They were talking Star Wars and whatnot. Yeah, you want to draw a crowd, draw some male attention. male gaze, GAZE. You bring in those monsters. Randy Couture could murk everyone in that photo in real fight. Oh, for sure. But yeah, I think if you get into this whole argument here, right? And then what ends up happening is you then get statements and questions like this. Gal Gadot says everyone should be a feminist. No, I don't believe that's the correct approach at all. And for some reason, who the hell would want to ask her, are you a feminist? Well, she's also a Zionist. You didn't see me say that, but and I find the question surprising because I think, yes, of course, every woman, every man, imagine all the people, everyone should be a feminist. Because whoever is not a feminist is a sexist. Now, is this a compelling argument? Again, pretty girl. Feminazi. yeah, no. What's up, Fokuni? How you been? I know, yeah. Suddenly, I feel the urge to be misogynistic. I pretend to be a feminist with her if it closes the deal. Right, exactly. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, you know, boom, bada bing, bada boom. And then I just peace out in the morning. I tried to go along with this as much as I could until I'm like, I just can't take it anymore. But yeah, how it depends how she defines it. She doesn't define it the proper way, I would suppose. What is a feminist? What is a woman? Good to see you. All right. Yeah, I hope everything's good though, man. And so my whole take on her statement saying because whoever is not a feminist is a sexist, right? Like, and Jamma Lama pointed this out in a chat earlier. Like, this is forced binary where it's like either you're a feminist or you're a sexist. So you choose, and like it's a trap. It's a trap because I think again the compelling argument to what you're mentioning. I'm just repurposing my chat here, my window. Anthony. So like, yeah, depending on how she defines it, right? Like, I definitely think that defining what feminism is what she should have done. Yeah, she's repeated this a few times, and I guarantee you she won't stop. This is going to be a repetitive thing. And exactly. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. So like a compelling argument based on what she should have said, right? Like, because I don't think she even comprehends. Maybe this goes through her small brain, but like you have to figure out what is morally necessary, and then show why rejecting it equals sexism. Like just saying, oh, if you're not a feminist, then you automatically are sexist. Like that's not how that works. And then you're just jumping straight to like moral labeling as well, you know? And I don't think the issue is that the idea that we like men and women should have like this equal rights, right? Equal legal rights, moral worth, etc. Because I think majority of people, and I know we joke about it, like repeal the 19th Amendment, but But I think most people could agree, like, oh yeah, just yeah, know your worth, know what you're supposed to do in life. Just yeah, like yeah, you do this, I do this, and we're fine. But don't say you're better than me, or don't think because I might do a better job at this at my work or I'm more successful, that means I'm better than you. It just means um I put in more work. I've achieved something because I've put more blood, sweat, and tears into it, or whatever it happens to be. I put more money, put more smarts, put more time into something, and I've achieved more. I've graduated to different tiers of life. That doesn't make me better than you. It just means I'm in a different area of life than you're not. Wait, we were joking about that? Maybe, maybe not. um, and so I think the issue is using this word feminism, right? Because it doesn't mean like one single universally accepted thing anymore, and that's the problem, right? Because you've got people on the internet that say, mostly the internet, but I think there's people out there that aren't on the internet that will probably say the same thing, right? Go, men and women, equal rights, equal dignities. And I think, again, people can support that, but, in this modern culture discourse, it's more like, oh, men are inherently oppressive. Masculinity is sus and stupid and wrong, and it's toxic, and traditional male roles are toxic, which is why we've had such a stretch of shit male characters for the last 15 years. Hence why we do Masculine Mondays, why masculinity in cinema is important, because we've got actors like Gal Gadot who do horrible portrayals of movies, and she can't act either. So, and then women's empowerment requires tearing men down, or disagreeing with feminine politics equals misogyny. And this is where toxic feminism comes into play. And it's not to say like if you support women is toxic, right? Like if you're supporting your wife who, has a tough job or does a great job, right? Maybe a doctor, right? Put a lot of work into it, or a lawyer, whatever happens to be. But it's the fact that feminism, the way it's displayed now most of the time, is or operates through resentment. There's a lot of double standards on feminism, and there's always hostility towards men. And I think if Gal was smart enough and knew that she felt passionately about this, and she knew that she's made the same statement multiple times, that maybe after the first one didn't go so well, maybe I would rephrase it, maybe expand it upon it, maybe extrapolate my thought a little bit more, and try to evoke what maybe means more to her, of course, and that's her opinion. But she could say, if by feminism you mean equality for women, then yes, I think most people will support that. But if feminism means accepting every modern ideological claim made in the name of feminism, or treating men as morally suspect by default, then no, rejecting that does not make someone sexist. It's that simple. Like if you reject this ideological claim of feminism by modern standards, we aren't sexist. We aren't misogynistic. She treats this as a label, and it's more about the principle of it, right? And yeah, you could say that women absolutely deserve protection, right? That we talk about masculine men protecting women, children, the elderly, right? Yeah, I mean, there are some women out there who deserve respect. I don't know, every woman deserves respect, especially if you're doing shit takes like this. But it's this weird activist framework that these actors, especially in Hollywood, come out and say, or these weird politicians, right? Like there's always some sort of like cultural agenda that's attached to it. So like this is not a compelling argument whatsoever. It's emotionally forced from Gal Gadot, and it's also very intellectually weak, right? If you're trying to say something that is maybe on an equal playing field, you should say, I think everyone should support justice, dignity, and fairness for women, but no one should be forced to accept a political or ideological label under the threat of being called misogynistic or sexist. And it's that simple. It's that simple. I mean, everything Gal Gadot has done is pretty floppy. So, I find it strange when they talk about feminism. Yet I think they all got roles because Weinstein gatekept a lot of these women in movies. Yeah, I think Jennifer Lawrence was a product of that, if I'm not mistaken. Knowing what he did, I don't think feminism hasn't worked out too well. It really hasn't. Yeah, men and women are complementary, not competitive. There is no competition. Yeah, I agree. Read the comments in the tweet. Oh yeah, we're going to. I just wanted to kind of rant a little bit, get my thoughts out. I've been holding on to. She doesn't need to act. She really doesn't. And I don't think she's had a good, what do you call it? A good track record as of late. When men and women are competing for the same thing, both sexes lose. That's a good point, though, Beans. Because I think women and men should strive for different things or understand that some things are not going to be equal. But it doesn't mean that they can't achieve greatness for themselves in their lane, their path. It's better to act as a team than have the cart pulled in two different directions. Exactly. Even Aristotle knew feminism was a bad idea. That was 2,200 years ago. Someone pointed out one time that all the traits of the female hero led in modern film are those of the toxic male. Do you remember who that was, Gemma? I'm trying to think. I remember hearing that too, but I don't remember who that was. Chauvinist is a big word. Chauvinistic pig. That's what they say too, right? I know I stand a bit alone on this, but women who are older and maybe have kids who are in their teenage 20s are really better at work at that age than they are at young. I think I know what you mean. And yeah, because I think it's weird too how they say, oh well, I guess men mature slower or women mature quicker than men do, and especially in their 20s, for women they have an advantage. I'm like, advantage at what? Because most of the chicks I knew when I was in my 20s and they were in their 20s, I mean, there were some that were smart or intelligent, but then there were others that weren't. So, I definitely think there are things maybe within the household, culturally, morally, religiously, that play into effect of who are better at work at a certain age. But I think because of if a woman has had kids, they've had to go through an experience and they've had to go through an understanding of raising small adults, and then learning a thing or two about responsibility and nurturing and instilling values on part of your legacy as raising kids. Because a lot of the times you've seen a lot in movies where majority of the time there's a stay-at-home mom because the father works all the time. you know, and one of my good friends I've known for God, probably almost 20 years now, and she's a stay-at-home mom, has 3 boys, and her husband, who I'm also friends with, works a lot, has a great job, of course, but you know, provides for a family, and you know, it's expensive to have you know, for a family of 5, especially in today's society. But she doesn't think that, oh yeah, if only I could work. Like, it's not what she says at all. Like I know a couple stay-at-home moms, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't see them complaining either, which is the point. Shouldn't be complaining. Yeah, it's a man's job. When a woman steps into the security position, they get out of line. It's kind of like, I don't want to say that female cops shouldn't be a thing, but we've seen videos on the internet where you see a female cop in a tough position and just does not work out well. The infamous line, Kal-El, no. I wonder how many takes they did with that line. Zack Snyder's probably perfect, one and done, good job. And meanwhile, he's just thinking, all right, that's out of here. Some of my best coworkers, bosses were women in the 40 to 60 range. Yeah, like I some of the women I work with are in like mid to late 30s or 40s, and you may have a kid or 2, right? And are fantastic, you know. I've had good female bosses. I've had some bad ones. Same for men. Yeah, like and again, like, and that kind of just goes down to like being qualified for what you're doing, and if you're not qualified, then it's like you shouldn't be there. Being called a racist and sexist by the left basically means you're right, and they're unable to come up with a valid argument. Yep. Male gaze, Scarlett Johansson. She could be in that the Expendables, right? Men and women should complement each other, not compete with each other. Just my 2 cents. I mean, Ronan, that's exactly what I say in my introduction video to why masculinity in cinema is important. Like, I make the analogy of men and women, masculinity and true femininity being like the sun and the moon, right? Like they need each other, right? And that's just the basis. Like, that's an easy formula that should equate all the time, right? It's like, that's how a good relationship works. You know, in a lasting relationship, like you and your significant other complement each other, right? And not so much like, and they say like, oh, opposites attract and blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, I don't know how long that lasts, and I don't know what the statistics are, but same thing. There's complementary of a relationship is, you know, you're not competing in a relationship at that point either. So, yeah, what's up, Davina? How are you? Good to see you here. Yeah, feminists always think everyone should be a feminist. That is very true. Yep. I think Frank Gore said that. Oh, he did. Nice. Okay, that makes sense then. It was a holy shit moment.
Holy shit.
As a government policy, more than a few countries have given women or families huge tax cuts per how many kids the family had. 25% tax cut per kid a woman has. Then at 4 kids, she pays no taxes forever. Have kids young, then work. Healthy family makes healthy country. Also no taxes for life. And where was that? Hungary? Damn. Yeah, kids make one grown up at least some. Right, yeah. We need reproduction. The moment we stop reproducing, then like we doom society. But I mean, God, that actually, I don't know. I feel like people in the estates here would probably take advantage of it. See so many body cams of grown women, 30, 40, 50, all mothers behaving like spoiled children when they get told no. Oh, yeah. And we kind of talked about this last night in Cine Stream, where there are people who were raised without being properly punished, aka beaten, for doing the wrong things. And yeah, I don't think female cops should be a thing. Medic, EMS, that's fine. But not law enforcement. Not out in the field. Law enforcement, I guess, too. Combat rules also should be a thing. Largely isn't because standards, but shouldn't be possible. Yeah, I feel like in like military, right, in the armed forces, like again, there might be like behind closed doors roles that maybe, like again, women out in the field, I don't think works, because again, in hand-to-hand combat with the man, when life and death is on the line, I don't see a woman escaping that more times than not. It reminds me just now of the show from Taylor Sheridan called the Lioness. If you haven't seen Lioness, I suggest seeing it. Because the chick that's in it isn't so much a girl boss. I mean, in some cases, she could be, but like the men, and Zoe Saldana's in it as well. But I think you realize like the men that are in there, and it's kind of like the men that kind of still run the show at the end of the day. But the men that are in that show could definitely overpower the women in that show. And I think in season 2, the woman that they try to recruit or try to use, essentially, she is, okay, I can't think of her name, and she was just in something recently I watched too, damn it. But she was a chopper pilot. And so same thing, it's like, but she was apparently a good one. So, and I think it's kind of interesting how a lot of recent plane and helicopter crashes occurred in reality within like the last year or two, right? And then I think about Linus season 2, and I'm like, might be a little ironic, but also kind of scary. Where's Patty Jenkins making Star Wars? She's done. And Taika Waititi is done, I think, too. Historically, feminism comes from Marx, equity of outcome. Yeah, Karl Marx sucks, dude. Yeah, pronatal policies are good. I personally love the 4 kids equals no taxes for life idea. That is a really good idea. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, because paying for 4 kids is crazy. Even if you're like, oh, doing hand-me-downs, like that's still crazy. Funny, Nick, I was telling my friend yesterday about strength at the gym. I'm like 8 times her strength, but her mom has health issues. She works 17 hours and helps her mom use the bathroom. That strength, because I could not do that for my mom. I think, and again, women are great at nurturing. They're great at nurturing their parents. And, like for my grandmother, like my mom had 2 sisters. They all helped take care of my grandmother when she was, going through health issues at her very, very old age, and God rest her soul. But like men, like taking care of, their wife might be an exception, I think, but like their mom's daughter's probably going to do a better job. Like, let's be real here. But yeah, like when you get into strength, right? It's like saying if Molly and I go to the gym, or you know, Davina and I go to the gym, and it's like, all right, let's start doing some deadlifts, right? Or let's do some squats. Like, I'm obviously going to do more weight than them. Not that they can't put a good workout in, especially if I'm coaching them. But my point is that like you're not going to outcompete me. That's just a fact. But if it's caring for, you know, taking care of your, you know, a mom and then work long hours, I'll work long hours. That's not a problem. But to work a very, very long shift and then come back and then help your mom out, yeah, no, that's definitely a form of strength. It's nurturing. Women are good nurturers. Not all of them, but some. Yo, what's up, Sebrew? Good show with Sydney last night. Dude, that was a lot of fun. And you know, I've had very, very, very minimal sleep today, and I'm still here. So that's strength and dedication. Several dozen times, Maverick all investigated, all proven false. G.I. Jane, Will Smith's wife out your mouth. Yeah. Did you ever see the vid of the SWAT obstacle course where all female team took 6 minutes to clear the first obstacle? Yeah, dude, that is hilarious. I mean, again, like, just there's certain things that we do better. It'd be like saying, again, in sports, put together a whole football team. Let's play tackle football. Like, you're not going to beat anyone from the NFL. Let's go put the Olympic hockey teams together. You're not going to outspeed, check, skate, pass the men. We already saw what happened when the women's USA team played like fourth stringers from I forget what club it was in soccer or football, and they got massacred. Even I think Serena Williams, who's arguably the best female tennis player that ever lived, is like, no. Like, I can't compete with men. Like, what's his face? Rafael Nadal would smoke me. Yeah, obviously. So, it's the same for firemen and soldiers. Women aren't strong enough to carry their bodies out of the danger zones. Right. If you can't carry, what is the average weight? 225 pounds over your shoulder, you're not cutting it. I think I've seen 3 male officers tase partners over the last 7 years. Yeah, it was like high school. Yeah, I saw it was like a high school men team or boys team versus the pro women team. They got destroyed. Are trans feminists? Probably. Is the trans woman from Ace Ventura Pet Detective a feminist? Ray Finkel? Ray Finkel had an identity crisis because he couldn't take the heat, which is kind of interesting with the amount of, like, you know, flack that sports players get for blowing something, right? And that was a what, a 1991 movie or 93, I think. Ray Finkel had a sex change. Did we care? No. Did they make a big deal out about it? No. Did they shove it down our throats? No. Did we enjoy it? Yes. I know some people aren't, Jim Carrey fans or like comedy, but I love Pet Detective. It's funny, feminist. My sister, she has 2 boys. Nia's covering Dark Fate. She's like, Chris, that movie, I refuse to watch it. Yeah, bad storytelling, Blue. Smoked the U.S. women's national team. 16, 17-year-olds. Yeah, wasn't it like 12-0 or something like that? It was embarrassing. Yo, what up, Jacob Ironside? How you doing? So, yeah, toxic femininity and toxic feminism is real. They say it's not, but it absolutely is, and it is quite a joke. I want to talk about in the last, how long have we been going for? Almost 2 hours. Last like 30 minutes here or so. Talk about Tolkien. The Chad, opposite of Gal Gadot. We're gonna do a little segue here, because I saw some things, like interesting approach. I got a Jed's time for Beans to head home. Sounds good, Beans. Travel safely. Good to see you. Hope you enjoy this next segment here. All good, Darth. All good. Yeah. If you want to hear what I have to say about it, always check out the last half hour or so. But I might kind of make this last part into a video as well. We'll see. But yeah, it should be good though. So Peter Jackson's at cons, right? And this is The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. The film's about Gollum's psychological addiction. I thought Andy Serkis knows this guy better than anybody, so I didn't think much of me directing the new movie. The most exciting version of this movie is if Andy makes it. Number one, this movie does not need to be made because, as I've reiterated multiple times already, and I feel like I'm a broken record, it was already established, and you're making a whole movie based on one part of one chapter in Fellowship of the Ring. Like, we already know what happens to Gollum. That's it. You're adding unnecessary filler at this point. But Peter Jackson has this to say.
Is I mean, it's again, it's a bit like the whole. I mean, I could agree with it, but I just thought, well, I've done that, and it's not because of me really. I've done that. I thought, well, it would actually be more interesting with that particular story that we go on, which is a sort of an event that just takes place between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. If Gollum himself directed the Andy Serkis directed it, because the thing that the film is very much an internal story about Gollum's psychology and his sort of addiction, and it's a very personal story to Gollum, the character. And so I thought, well, Andy knows this guy better than anybody, and so actually I didn't really think much about the idea of me doing it all. I thought the most exciting version of this movie is going to be if Andy Serkis makes it, because he's going to put a Gollum psychology on screen that you cannot imagine. So, yeah. So I'm just leaving them to it. I mean, I'm there to help when I can help, you know, if I can be of assistance at certain times, but answer questions, or I'm there to, but I don't interfere. I'm giving him as much freedom as I can. Because giving Andy freedom to make that movie is going to result in the best possible film.
So here's the issue. And I feel like Peter Jackson himself should have remembered this, recalled this, because in Return of the King, who do we see? We see Smeagol and Deagle as riverfolk finding the One Ring at the bottom of the river. And then we see what it immediately does to both of them. And we see that Smeagol kills Deagle. And then we see, based on Peter Jackson's storytelling, what it does to him. We get the narration of Andy Serkis, right? And it's like, we do see the psychological aspect. We do see how it's affecting. We do see what it's driving him to do. We do see that he calls it precious. We do see that he will not, won't part from it. I mean, we even see Bilbo say the similar things. It's mine, my own, my precious. Precious? It's been called up before, but not by you. And it's like, what business is it of you, what I do with my own things? You want it for yourself. It's mine. I will not part with it. It's mine. It came to me. It's like, no, there's no need to get angry. Who says I'm angry? It's your fault. Yeah, wait till we actually start covering Lord of the Rings on Masculine Mondays. It's going to be a freaking quoting spree, and I'm going to just do voices all the time. But, what's up, Rabnad? How you doing? I thought Battle of the Five Armies was condensed. Yeah, right. Again, it's just like proving further that this movie just does not need to be made. We already understand the whole story and the psychological aspect of Gollum and even the ring itself and what it does to users. We even see, obviously what it does to Frodo. We see the effect it has on everyone else. The fact that, Galadriel had to battle with it, what it did to Boromir. Only those who were good at heart were able to not be affected by it. Samwise, Aragorn, the utmost Chad of Chads, right? There's a huge detailed description of the hunt for Gollum in the Unfinished Tales, but they don't have the rights to do it. So it's going to be all made up filler instead. I'm glad you said that, Ray, because I do have another segue. I hate these who's the best writer polls. Robert Jordan wrote Wheel of Time. In interviews, he would credit Tolkien. Wheel of Time wouldn't exist without Lord of the Rings. Listen, and this is why Tolkien is the godfather of fantasy. It just is. Same thing. I listen. Harry Potter would not be a thing. Rowling would not have been a thing. Game of Thrones would not have been a thing. And I think it's why I respect Robert Jordan. And I've not read Wheel of Time. And I think at some point I'll probably start reading all those books. I think there's 14 of them. But I remember seeing this and I'm like, all right, that's the respect that I can respect. Yeah, Deagle's like, it's my birthday and he wants it.
No, it's my birthday and I want it.
Yeah, he did, because he almost walked away. Cast it into the fire. It's you, no. Yeah,
What does it say, my love?
My throat's getting super dry. Eraser. Then the segue that I saw last night, I was like, well, That's interesting. Breaking news. Hold on. Do I have an effect for that? Breaking news. Peter Jackson reveals that him and his team are negotiating with the estate to license more rights from Tolkien's works. Combination of Warner's and has been talking to the younger Tolkien members about the possibility of actually licensing some of the rights to the other books. So let's hear it from the man himself.
So anyway, those two books were gone, but then Tolkien, then Christopher Tolkien sort of edited and published other Tolkien books, The Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales. I mean, there's a lot more Tolkien writing, which would actually make great movies that were subsequently edited and released by Christopher, but he just absolutely would not let the mere idea of a film happen. So those rights have never been available. But Christopher passed away recently, or was about two or 3 years ago now, and the younger Tolkiens, the sort of this next generation, are now running the estate, and they're much more, much more open to talking. So I know that Warner's, a combination of Warner's and us have been talking to some of the younger Tolkien members who are now part of the board about the possibility of actually licensing the rights to some of the other books. It'd be nice to get away from the appendices and get something a bit more meaty. So anyway, those two books were gone.
And listen, I don't disagree with him there. Like, it would be nice to get away from the appendices, because that's like we're just trying to take these stories, aka War of the Rohirrim, which I am working on a video for that. And like Baron and Luthien, right? Children of Hurin, like, you could do these one-off movies potentially for them. And like the people, I think that I don't think people realize is that the Silmarillion itself, like the stories in the Silmarillion, are very dark. And like these, even like some of the tales are dark outside of like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. But my issue is that I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. And then again, I saw Fandom Pulse say, negotiating for the rights, Silmarillion, right? Same thing. So we've talked about this before. I think plenty of people have talked about this before. I'm pretty sure like Gary Nerdrotic's probably talked about this. I don't know if like Drinkers talked about this before either, and I really haven't talked about it as much as I want to, but the Silmarillion, obviously doesn't read like an actual novel. It's not a novelization. It's more, to me, it kind of reminds me of like the Bible. Like that first chapter is essentially Genesis, right? And then people like to say that Tolkien wasn't religious at all. I'm like, have you read some of his writing? Don't think so. Can we get a Righteous First Age trilogy? Like, the thing that I question is, do we get a movie saga from this? Like, where we talk about the Silmarillion and the stories in Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, and some of the other books, the other stories that are more full-fledged and drawn out? Or do we go the HBO series route instead? Right? Maybe, like, what's going to give us more time that's not going to give us filler? That's the question. Peter Jackson peaked at Lord of the Rings. And then some will say like King Kong. I don't think King Kong was terrible. But yeah, it's like he didn't want to do The Hobbit. And then he did. And then I think New Line just kind of strong-armed him. But and I agree, Eraser. Yeah, like if Frodo was just like, all right, bloop, and then that's it. I'm not gonna hold my breath for it, but damn, it would be sick. Like, yeah, I do think there is a right way of doing the Silmarillion. You know, like you really have to focus on a lot, and again, like there's obviously like dialogue that needs to be done, and this is the utmost importance. You need to consult with Tolkien scholars when you're touching this book or the unfinished tales, the other books that the Tolkien estate has locked down. Like if I was a member of the Tolkien estate and I see how this current age of Tolkien has been treated, I'm like, listen, we'll allow you to do it, but before you even print the damn script, I want to see it, or we need to see it, and we need to agree upon it before you even get the green light to start making it. Before you even get a budget, I want to see the damn script. Exactly. Like you need multiple seasons of Razor. I totally agree. This isn't like a one and done season, like because of the times itself. Like you know, you need an entire season from the Númenóreans, right? And I'm not talking this trash that we're getting from Rings of Power. Like, we need full-fledged details about the Silmarils. You know, about like the fall of Gondolin. I mean, the characters in the First Age. Freaking I mean, to accurately portray Melkor, who is arguably worse than Sauron was. You'd see Sauron off because he's a lieutenant, but like that final battle and Agmar between Fingolfin, dude. There's a lot of great moments I think would happen that people would be like, this is sick. But I mean, also think of like an accurate version of Ungoliant. People who have arachnophobia will lose their minds. Guaranteed, people would freak the hell out the moment they see this enormous, especially when she gets, you know, bigger, and then even Melkor gets spooked by her. But then she dies. Spoiler alert. But like, I mean, we would get more Balrogs. You would get more dragons. I mean, just the fact that the entire First Age, like the entire land just sinks into the ocean, right? Like, I mean, there's some devastating shit that happens. We've got to talk about a civil war, right? There's so much to cover that, again, you can't just do it a one and done season. The problem is that I don't know who would direct it, and I don't know who's, you know, like they need to have Tolkien scholars. They need to have people that are going to keep them in the boundaries of what actually makes sense and what actually constitutes correct Tolkien lore and mythology here. Yeah, exactly. She gets enormous. Is Peter Jackson a pothead or a crackhead? I don't know what he is now, honestly. But yeah, it's unfortunate. And I'm a little weary about this. You know, because when you look at you know, when you look at, and I was reading another post from, I couldn't find it. I thought I bookmarked it, but Fandom Pulse posted something maybe 2 weeks ago that I was going to talk about last Friday, but didn't get the chance to. And it was about Tolkien's essay called on fairy stories, which I think I have open another tab here. So let me. Where is it? So let me actually zoom in a little bit more. So you can read this for free, right? It's 41 pages. If you haven't read it and you want to learn more about Tolkien's approach, storytelling, and fantasy, this is great. Now, the question at hand that I saw, which kind of, again, piqued my interest, was, where's my notes? Because obviously, like, critics have, yeah, exactly, right. On Fairy Stories is a must read, 100%, worth it all the time to read this. And the idea of this essay is that Tolkien is dismantling critics who called fantasy escapism. And if you know anything about Tolkien, like another good book to buy, if you just want to see how Tolkien responds to people, read The Letters of Tolkien. It's like a pretty thick book, but some great, it's just great to see more and be in the mind of Tolkien, especially when people start trying to like adapt, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and he just, I don't know how he does it, but man has a way with words, obviously. But he just dismisses and just kind of mic drops people in the most professional way possible. But even through his intelligent language, you're just like, damn, Tolkien just burned this dude for trying to do these things with Lord of the Rings. And it's just like, nah, like, you don't get it. Which is like why he's always said, you can't adapt my books. You can't make them into movies. It won't translate well. Even Christopher Tolkien, his son, has said the same thing, which I believe Christopher Tolkien did not like the Lord of the Rings trilogy either. So, there's a quote that says, they confound the escape of the prisoner with the flight of the deserter. They would seem to prefer the acquiescence of the quisling to the resistance of the patriot. And so the question at hand is consuming fantasy fiction an act of avoidance, or is it an act of resistance against a world that tells us just to accept the things as they are? And when I read that, like, well, there's two different types of escapism. There's bad escape, which is the deserter, or there's the good escape of like the prisoner's escape, which is why Tolkien says confound the escape of the prisoner with the flight of the deserter. He's basically saying you are blaming the prisoner for wanting out of the prison when the real problem is the prison itself. And so then fantasy is not inherently about hiding from reality, because great fantasy helps us often see reality more clearly by stripping it down to the archetypal truths: good and evil, courage and cowardice, kingship and corruption, fellowship and betrayal, sacrifice and temptation. Guess what? All those things are in Lord of the Rings. It's almost like the man knew what the hell he was talking about. And that's exactly why Lord of the Rings doesn't feel like some sort of childish avoidance. It's about this fantasy and mythical type of confrontation. Like, Frodo does not escape the world by going to Mordor. Aragorn does not escape his duty by accepting being king of Gondor or a king of men. Same thing with Sam. He doesn't escape the hardship because it's like, I can't carry the ring, but I can join you side by side and I can carry you. right? Especially when the world has ancient dragons, different type of orcs, a Balrog, magical rings, a Dark Lord, something about the end of the world, right? That Samwise hears in the garden. So I think when you're consuming fantasy, or fantasy fiction, I should say, it replaces some sort of responsibility, but it becomes resistance when it restores our ability to imagine these things. Like when we imagine the world of courage and honor and sacrifice and hope in a world that keeps telling us to lower expectations. That's why, like, and you've seen plenty of people post it or repost that infamous speech, that infamous monologue from Samwise Gamgee in the Two Towers when they're at Asciliath, and like he's saying because there's still good in the world, right? And like it's so good that even Faramir, even the Gollum was like affected by it, but you see Faramir realize that, like, you know what, maybe you're right. I'm gonna let you guys go. And I think at the end of the day, like, we don't need to let our world that is broken and beaten convince us that that's all there is, right? It's like the thing that I love about on fairy stories, fairy tales, it's that critics have gotten this thing in this ideology wrong, and they think that fantasy is only for kids. There's a fly in here. The hell? I might kill a fly, guys. Sorry. Kill all bugs, right? Helldiver in real life. That fantasy is less serious than realism, which is why I hate so much of the modern day crap. It's like we already live in this. We need this escapism. That escapism is morally suspicious. That the real world is automatically worse. The real world is isn't worth, and that it's more truthful because it is an ugly, tough, hard world out there. People are more cynical, and it's more industrial out there, and that that mythology is a primitive way of thinking. It is childish, and it's irrational. We shouldn't be thinking this way, and that's what On Fairy Stories is all about. Tolkien's like, hold my beer real quick. Let me type up a 41-page essay telling you how you're fucking wrong. Because it asks a lot of questions that I don't think a lot of critics would ever dare to ask themselves. What is a fairy story? He rejects the fact that this is for kids or children. Fantasy does not oppose the idea to reason. So there's a lot of great parts. One of the huge problems is that everyone wants heroes and role models, but they don't want to take the step to actually model themselves as actor. Exactly, dude. Like, and I think that's where people in reality struggle to find someone that they can relate to, whether it's someone that they know or don't know. Could be a father, uncle, even friend's father. Who knows? Could be a coach. It could be a character in a movie, right? You go, man, I love Aragorn. I want to do the right things like Aragorn did. I don't need to be king, but same qualities. I want to follow those footsteps. In part, we're the ones that damn heroism, friendship, and sacrifice to exist only on the words of a page. Yeah, I mean, again, you're right, Eraserhead. Like, that is something that we've continued to do for a while. Critics have done it, so it's just it's unfortunate that we're still in this junction of you know, damning the things that Tolkien is trying to tell us and has warned us about, right? Like, you know, the way I love the way he starts here, and we're not going to fully go into this because I probably need like a month's worth of repeating weeks to go through this, like in depth. But again, like I really, if you have time and you want to read this, you know, it's really great because again, he goes into the idea, like he's providing backup and research and truth about what a fairy story or fairy tale is, right? Right here in the start, when it was recorded in 1750, tale about fairies or fairy legend, developed senses, an unreal or incredible story, a falsehood. But I love how he talks more about the supernatural, right? Gives a nice little poem here. It's not about the little winged creatures, not those type of fairies. But there's a lot of mentioning of Shakespeare in here. We've got a lot of different examples, but as you go through this and as he gets into again more of his lore, right? Where is it? Yeah, right here. Fairy contains many things besides elves and fays, dwarves, witches, trolls, giants, dragons. It holds the seas, the suns, the moon, the sky, the earth, all things that are in it, the trees and the birds, the water and stone, wide and bread ourselves, mortal men, when we are enchanted. Like, there's a lot more of it than what is led to believe. And that's the problem I think some people fail to realize. Critics fail to realize. What's going on, Sakuna? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, look what we do to our heroes. The heroes that we should be praising or being grateful for, we are damning, and that's the unfortunate part. And so I would say Tolkien is essentially saying that, and I think you'll hear people say that we shouldn't hope, we shouldn't hold on to hope, we shouldn't look for hope. But that's what fairy tales do. Like, again, a well-written story, right? Like Lord of the Rings does have a lot of hope in it, even when they're faced with impossible odds, right? There's a lot of truths that fairy stories, fairy tales have. And it's like hoping that you amount to something, hoping that you achieve something, hoping that you, again, have the courage, that you have loyalty, that you can make a sacrifice, that you avoid despair. And then the world that we live in, right? Like, again, it's a crazy world, right? It absolutely is. Because we live in a world that constantly tells people to lower their expectations, accept the cynicism and the ugliness and the corruption and the cheapness and the soullessness, the evil, the dirtiness that we all have and see. It's like, like, again, to your point, Hook and Eraser, like they say that, excuse me. I need that. You did that. What my throat? Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry. They think that heroism is cringe, right? You're a fool if you're trying to sacrifice something that being honorable is outdated. Chivalry is dead. Hope is a fool's errand. It's something that only kids have. And when you're an adult, you need to lose all hope because there is no hope. Admiring anything that is deemed beautiful is naive. And it's like, well, take a breath and smell the coffee, smell the roses, right? Breathe the free air, Theoden. Because there is still courage, there is still wonderment in our world, there is still evil worth resisting. I mean, how much political shit that do we see, or crap in Hollywood, where it's like there's just evil, and like this is the evil that we need to fight against. That it's that we need to resist. And again, to quote Samwise Gamgee, there is good that is worth defending. There is a world that is worth fighting for. Right? There are metaphorical and analogical dragons and demons to face, enemies to face, and there are still burdens for us to carry, right? There are ordinary people like us who can become more heroic because of, dare I say, the masculine virtues that we can have. Loyalty, sacrifice, endurance, courage, bravery. And it's not to avoid it, it's to resist it. And I think another important part of this story here, this from this essay from Tolkien, he talks about recovery. And that is one of the most important parts of this essay, because when you recover, right, from anything, long workout, you kind of rejuvenate, long day, rest, right? You're recovering. But recovery in fantasy helps us see the world again, right? You're not escaping the world, but you're seeing it again, because sometimes the familiarity makes us blind to it. We stop seeing the things around us, like nature, the food we have, the sky, the sea, our friends, our family, what we have in our own home here, like just ordinary goodness. It's almost like we take it for granted, and we don't appreciate what we have, and we just reduce it all down to utility. And then when we look at something, we just see it for the value it is. It's like, oh, well, yeah, these trees are nothing more than toilet paper and tissue paper and paper towels and whatnot, right? Building a house, maybe for some good, but yeah, we look at empty land and go, this is property, this is money. We look at consumers, customers, voters, demographics, obstacles, and all it is just data, right? And that's why I love playing video games too, because I need that escapism. I need to put myself in a different world. And I think it's why I love watching Lord of the Rings so much. I think it's why I clung to Lord of the Rings so much, even at a young age. And Tolkien is because there's something beautiful that he offers through the writing that allows us to escape this world that we're in it and put ourselves in it to see the values that actually exist here in the world. But even the world says that we shouldn't be like this, but we can be like this. It's like having a dirty window that we're looking toward, and we're just, taking the wiper, we're cleaning and going, I'm refreshed now. I've recovered from the lapse that this world has instilled on me, but I'm reminded that the ordinary things that we take for granted are actually quite miraculous, and I think that's why all in Tolkien's books, right? That's why he takes so much time to write the songs, write the languages, describe the food, the environment, right? The Middle Earth, the friendship that these characters have, the brotherhood that these friends have, the hobbits, right? And that's what I love about just the world of Middle Earth. Like, it doesn't tell us to ignore our reality here on Earth. It's like, hey, guess what? There's a fantasy that exists here. Place yourself in it because there are great things here that will give you a breath of fresh air. So, yeah, what's up, Zaxi? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it helps us enjoy the simpler things, something that is desperately needed with our terminally online society. 100%, dude. Screw all the nihilistic libtards. I'm going to hold on to hope and faith and trust my God will bring the reckoning and salvation this world needs. Amen, brother. One of the biggest lies about adulthood is that you lose your imagination. 100%. It's like, oh yeah, when you get old, you stop being creative. You stop imagining things. It doesn't matter anymore. You grow up. I mean, it's like Peter Pan, right? We go to Neverland. I didn't want to make a terrible Alien Earth joke, but the fact that we connect with these stories is proof that isn't true. 100%. And then, yeah, especially with the advent of social media. Yeah, obviously, it's like there are good ways to talk about social media, right? Or utilize social media, but I think very seldom is it used properly. It's like using. Let's see. I'm trying to look what word it is. Yeah, it's like using YouTube as an example, right? YouTube can be used in beneficial ways. Can be used in more manipulative ways. Yeah, this part here, he talks about children is again one of the most compelling arguments that he makes in his essay behind the representation of fairy tales. The human mind is capable of forming mental images of things not actually present. Right? Stop thinking about these things when you're an adult. Why? I could just sit and read Tolkien for like days. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, here's where I was talking about. So it's
bloody fly.
So yeah, we're talking about recovery, escape, and consolation. So the last thing I was going to talk about was escapism. And so he says people mock escape as if it's automatically cowardly, but if a man is in prison, escape is not cowardice, right? Escape is sanity, resistance, the refusal to accept captivity as our natural condition. The part that modern critics often miss is they assume the current world is the standard, that whatever is dominant, modern, industrial, cynical, socially approved must be accepted as real life, right? Not imagination. And if you reject that, then we're called immature. We're not adults. We're children. And Tolkien is saying that yes, maybe we are the people that, the immature person is not the one who believes in dragons. Maybe the immature person is the one who has become so spiritually defeated that he cannot imagine anything better than the cage he lives in. Let me repeat that. Tolkien is saying maybe the immature person is not the only one who believes in dragons, but maybe the immature person is the one who has become so spiritually defeated that he cannot imagine anything better than the cage he lives in. So you can think of it like this. Sure, we believe in dragons, whatever. We believe in fantasy. We like fantasy. We engage in fantasy. I don't think we're immature at all. I actually think we are the intelligent ones. We're the ones that are awake. We're maybe more sound. We're not defeated. And the ones who disbelieve that are the defeated ones, are the immature ones, because those people can't imagine anything outside the box. And that's where they're trapped. And ironically, they can't escape when they need to. And I think that's why fantasy matters. You can't just say, oh, this is just how things are. No, I'm sorry. Like, what they're saying is not fact. They're not God. You know, this prison that they get trapped in is not home to us. You know, again, fantasy allows us to imagine something higher than the conditions we have been told to accept from society. And so, again, this other part here about consolation, he talks about eucatastrophe. And that is the sudden joyous turn, the moment where everything seems lost, but grace breaks through. And I think people don't understand what grace actually means. I think majority of people get the idea, the concept of it, but, you know, it is the moment where doom and gloom gets overturned and then that evil does not get the final word. Well, where have we seen that? Tolkien's works?
Holy shit.
Yo, what's up, comic people? Tolkien and a big Imagine Dragons fan confirmed. Because he's radioactive. Just kidding. Good to see a comment. And I think the other thing too that I think Tolkien is saying in this essay is that it's not that saying fairy tales for fairy stories, that pretend suffering is not real, right? Like the sorrow that occurs, the tragedies that occur, the failure that occurs, and like the death and defeat that happens, especially like on the first age. It definitely exists. Like the evil that we see in Lord of the Rings, for example, is inherently real. I think what fantasy and what Tolkien is trying to say here is that is not the end all be all, the ultimate alpha and omega of life or of fantasy. I think that's why like his fantasy stories and others that are, you know, have come after him, do well if written well too. Because not everything is easy, you know, and I think for if fantasy stories are powerful because even when things seem at a loss, we have hope, and hope survives, right? That's why in the Return of the King, the eagles arrive, right? That's why Sam seeing the star in Mordor matters. That's why the destruction of the ring matters. That's why Aragorn becoming King Elisar matters, right? Fulfilling his oath. Because him united brought peace to Middle Earth. And I think that's who says it in as a Gandalf, I think, that says why the smallest person carrying the heaviest burden matters the most. Yeah, Luvatar always pulling up to deliver some catastrophe. Yeah. I was fixing the sync over last rant, but my comments in the sequence are as follows: base. Hell yeah, dude. Gotta fix that sync. Home plumbing, gotta love it. Yeah, there's yeah. Where's the I was gonna highlight this, but again, it would be more of a more in-depth approach to this. For maybe I'll still do something more super in-depth on this. I don't know. But yeah, the consolation of fairy stories, the joy of happy ending, or more correctly, of the good catastrophe, the sudden joyous turn. That's what I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I mean, just man knows what he's talking about here. And I'd say even too, like in his epilogue, and if you think, if we consume a lot of fantasy fiction and treat it as some sort of like act of avoidance, like I don't want to pay attention to anything, I'm avoiding anything that happens in my life. And if you ignore things, then that could be a sense of avoidance. But and you can't utilize fantasy as a replacement for like our responsibility, right? So again, when you're ignoring your responsibilities and things that we can be held accountable for because we're looking to fantasy, then I do think that's where the act of avoidance comes into play. Like, you can't resort to fantasy to hide from our job, our family, things like fixing a sink, you know, as Hook's doing right now, right? Like our maturing, our growth, your health, right? Your real life obligations, like that's where it becomes the flight of the deserter that Tolkien talks about in the beginning of this essay. And that's not what he's defending. Tolkien is defending the fantasy that that where the prisoner escapes, the man again who escapes the cage and says, like, that's not all there is to life. You know, that hope isn't childish. And I think that's why the act of fantasy endures, the mythology endures from fantasy. And I think that's why stories that come from Middle Earth matter. You know, that's why people love Tolkien so much. Not so much with the Hobbit movies, Rings of Power, of course, but the books and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, in movie format. And I do think that it does teach us like a false sense of reality, that we just need to cherish. You know, like I think a lot of us do appreciate the act of using fantasy as escapism. But I think the other thing too, like when we are using fantasy as escapism, it's kind of like, where are we going, right? You've had a really shitty day and you're just like, all I want to do right now is read this book, or I just want to throw on Lord of the Rings, or I want to play this video game, you know, and escape into some sort of fantasy, right? Like I want to play Helldivers, I want to play you know, Arc Raiders, or I want to play, you know, Crimson Desert, going into this fantasy world. You know, are we escaping our responsibilities? It's like, well, I just got done doing chores all day, I had to deal with some real life bullshit. I worked 10 hours, like, you know, tended to my family. I have like an hour or two of time to myself. You know, do I use this time to escape into some sort of fantasy realm? Yeah, why not? I've done my duties. I'm not captive to everything that is bad. I'm having a good time now. And after maybe, you know, reading a book, watching a movie, playing a game, and you go sleep, wake up and go, you know what? I'm feeling a lot better today. But again, I think it's the importance of doing fantasy right. And why, I forgot who said it, but they were right too about The Hobbit is essentially a bit of a child's book, even though it's written extremely well. but I think fantasy is one of the most serious forms of storytelling because, again, it reminds us that the world is not what these cynical people say it is, and that the prison that they say we live in is not our home, and that the most realistic thing a story can do is teach us to hope again, even if we've lost hope. You know, it's like Ronan said earlier, just keep on hoping. You know, I don't recall anywhere in the books where Galadriel could one-shot cave trolls with her sword and decides to jump out of the boat of Valinor and swim back to Middle-earth. Yeah, exactly. Is that in the hidden appendices that I might have just somehow missed? I don't know. I don't remember. Sometimes the O-ring just needs to be replacing, or the government. You know, true. Quakers were wrong about constant working. People need time to relax and reflect, or they'll become embittered. Yeah. Some Protestant group who basically punished for nonstop labor. I mean, and I got to say too, I was talking with a few people about this, where it's like the American dream, or whatever you want to call it now. It's like all we do in America is grind, 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 and grind. It's not the 5 Ds for dodgeball. It's the 5 Gs, and it's all grind. And you get burnt out because all you're doing is nonstop labor, essentially. And, you know, like, I think everyone's busy, right? People have work, they do other things. You know, it's like I work, my Monday through Thursday days are very busy. And then when I'm usually done with work, you know, I'll go straight into a stream, or I'll, you know, I mean, there have been days on Mondays that I'll work 10-hour days and then get ready to stream Masculine Mondays. You know, I've done the same thing on Tuesdays before. I mean, like yesterday, worked, had to, you know, go to the gym, go run errands, chat with some family on the phone, and then come back home, start streaming 10:30, stream for way later than that, till almost 5 a.m. last night with Cine, go to sleep, get barely any sleep, wake up, work, stream now. After this, what am I going to do? I got some emails I got to attend to. Then I'm going to go to the gym. And then I don't know what, I mean, I might be going out of town, so I might have to do some driving. But I'm not going to ignore my duties. If I can play a game and escape for a little bit, yeah, that's fine. But like, people need time to relax and reflect. Reflect on the day, reflect on what's been going on in your life. That's why I like to check up on people, you know. Hope people are doing well. That's why I like seeing you guys pop up in chats, or if I'm in another chat and I see you guys there, like, it matters, because it's like, okay, how are you guys doing? You guys are doing good? Good. That's all, you know. It's like, you know, I like to hear that, you know, because all we can try to do is be hopeful. You know, life happens, bad things happen, fortunate things happen, unlucky things happen, whatever you want to call it. And we know that life's tough, and this is exactly what Tolkien is saying. But it doesn't mean we should look at the world in doom and gloom, or that we shouldn't try to have an imagination and look to things that are hopeful, because we absolutely should. But yeah, again, it's a great read. Yeah, and it is there's a people talk about you know, Tolkien and religion, and I'm like, maybe you should read a few things that he's written. You know, because again, he's talking here about the Christian joy, the Gloria is of the same kind, preeminently high and joyous. The story is supreme. Art has been verified. God is Lord of angels, men, of elves. Legend and story has been fused. Story, fantasy still go on and should go on. The Evangelium, or Evangelium, sorry, has not abrogated legends. It does not hollow them, especially the happy ending. The Christian still has work to do, with the mind as body, to suffer, to hope, to die. But he may now perceive that all his bents and faculties have a purpose, which can be redeemed. The redeeming purpose. And that's why we live. So great is the bounty with which he has been treated, that he may now perhaps fairly dare to guess that in fantasy he may actually assist in the effoliation and multiple enrichment of creation. All tales may come true, and yet at the last redeemed, they may be as like and unlike the forms we give them as man. Finally redeemed will be like and unlike the fallen that we all know. I just hear his British accent too when I read it, but this is it's a great read, guys. Highly recommend reading it if you get a chance. I can. Oh, that's the wrong link. That's Sinby. If you just Google on fairy stories, it's like the second link. It's from the Calvary Georgetown Divide. Is where you can read it in like a PDF format. You can download it to your phone if whatever you want to do, but Tolkien's the GOAT. Top chud. So don't stop holding on to hope. Get out there in the fantasy realm. I might watch. I might watch Tolkien this weekend, but I got other movies I need to watch too, so we'll see. But that being said, your man's getting hungry because I've been talking the last 3 hours and haven't had much to eat this morning. So I'm gonna figure out something to get for food. I need nourishment. I need to take care of my health, right? Can't ignore my duty to go work out. Who's streaming right now? FNT hasn't started yet. Irwin's still streaming. We'll raid Irwin. Why not? So, but yeah, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Maybe around tonight, not too sure yet. Kind of waiting to see what happens, but chat, you guys were awesome today. Especially, love the Friday afternoon sessions. A lot of good involvement. You guys have said a lot of great things, so I thank you for that. Yep. God bless you as well, Hook. Appreciate it, man. So yeah, go see what's up to Irwin. Monday from Ask the Mondays, we're talking Iron Man. Because Iron Man's a good movie. I almost like a good show. We're gonna have a few people on the show that have not been on the show before. So tune in to see who those guests will be. A couple of returning people, but yeah, it should be good time Monday night. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Make sure you get some Wow. Make sure you get some rest and relaxation. I'm tired, guys. I need some more caffeine. But you guys are awesome. God bless you as well, Ronan. Appreciate you, brother. And thanks so much, man. I was glad I got to do this again into last week, and then despite having a lack of sleep, I found the courage and the endurance to be here tonight. Or today, this afternoon. But yeah, we'll see you guys next stream. And do a nice little yell on the way out for you. Cheers, everyone.